What's good? Kid Jerome here. I'm working my way through 1001 albums you must hear before you die, and today I'm going to be reviewing Disraeli Gears. Disraeli Gears is the second album by London rock band Cream, released November of 1967. This is the first time I've listened to a Cream project in its entirety. I had really high hopes for this album. It features legendary musicians Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, just some absolute forces of nature in the early rock scene. So I was really hoping they were going to deliver hard with this one. I'm loosely familiar with tracks such as Strange Brew, Sunshine of Your Love. I've heard them countless times on classic rock radio. So I was hoping that all the other tracks on this album would have the same sort of strong, iconic quality. But I felt myself getting bored a lot of the time. Sometimes these tracks border on uninspired. A lot of them start kind of at this high point at 100, and they sort of stay there the entire time. And it doesn't always work. Because if every part of your song is the loud part, then nothing in your song stands out. A couple examples of this are Strange Brew and SWLABR. They don't waste a second, just coming in with every instrumental part at the same time. We have the guitars, bass, drums. Very shortly after, we have the vocals. It feels like they're almost in a rush to finish the song. That's evidenced by how the songs have very short outros as well. They all rank around 3 minutes, which is short for the time. I very much appreciate a well-written 2.5-minute song. I appreciate songs that don't waste your time, that show up, do the thing, and exit. But I feel like some of these could have definitely benefited from a little bit more embellishment, a little bit more context. A lot of the songs are sorely lacking in dynamic variation. We have World of Pain with this sort of dial-in lyricism, this lazy instrumentation. We have Blue Condition, which is sort of always chill, sort of lives in this low energy space and almost seems afraid to leave that comfort zone. Again, it's sorely lacking in dynamic range. I feel like a quieter track could have really benefited from maybe a more uplifting chorus, a little bit more of a pickup and rhythm. But as it stands now, it sort of sounds like background noise, and not really in a good way. While the instrumentals on these tracks I just mentioned are very impressive, very proficient, they sort of lack heart. I feel like heart is more important than skill when you're trying to write a song that makes somebody feel something, that sort of takes them somewhere else. If you're just doing scales and sort of clocking in all of your verses, then I feel like that's definitely not lost on the listener. The lyrical content is pretty interesting. I really don't know what they're talking about a lot of the time. We have very goofy lyrics, such as in, World of Pain, they say, outside my window is a tree, outside my window is a tree. And then they don't elaborate on the tree. But there's good examples of these goofy lyrics. There's a lot of word painting going on in this album. There's lots of instances of lyrics not necessarily contributing to a narrative or outlining any emotions, but making the listener visualize certain things. Some examples of this are in Tales of Brave Ulysses. They say, tiny purple fishes run laughing through your fingers. It's very, very specific imagery. We can all picture purple fishes running through fingers, putting our hands in rivers and really just wading around. It instantly makes you think of something very specific. And it goes on saying her name is Aphrodite and she rides a crimson shell. Word painting can be a very powerful tool that highlights the textures of the song instead of sort of telling a story. I feel like it's completely valid to do word painting in such a way that it matches the sonic properties of a song. We don't always have to communicate ideas in our songs, but communicate feelings. And hearing these silly, weird lyrics about purple fishes, it sounds odd at first, but when you hear it in the correct context, you can't really picture anything else being said. It makes perfect sense. It's a very strong use of vocals as just another instrument, as another texture in each song. And I feel like it was employed beautifully at certain points in this album. I really appreciated the vocals on this album. At first, they were a little bit lackluster. They failed to impress me, but they really grew on me. There's this high-pitched sort of whisper that's everywhere on the album that is somewhat, it's kind of timeless. I don't really hear anybody sing like this anymore, and I really appreciate it for what it is, for what they are able to do with this kind of texture. I like how it just glides over Eric's guitar parts, how it complements the really crunchy instrumentation, the really underpronounced drums. It feels like this sort of vocal delivery is definitely at home on this album. It wasn't lost on me. On the other hand, we have these occasional confident belting vocals, such as on Sunshine of Your Love, on Tales of Brave Ulysses. When this happens, it's definitely the peak of the song, when they step outside of their vocal comfort zone and really take it to the next level. It's very effective, and I wish that these moments occurred more throughout the album. I don't have very many to pick from, and most of the vocals on this album feel understated, which I certainly appreciate on some level, but I feel like they were definitely capable of more, and a lot of the vocal deliveries feel like they're punching under their weight. Clapton has to be my favorite part about this album. There's nothing I can say about Eric Clapton that hasn't been said already. His tone is very timeless, very classic. It's very warm and overdriven. It cuts through the mix. It's a very blues-heavy, classic 60s sound. The solos are absolutely masterful. He really brings the energy of the song up whenever he takes the platform. Some good examples of solid Eric Clapton solos would be the outro of Ulysses, the bridge of Outside Woman Blues. I really appreciated. Definitely the best part of that song. And like I keep saying, the good parts of this album are so good, but so few and far in between, that I really wish that they put their best foot forward more. I wish that Eric Clapton had more solos and wasn't just confined to keeping up the rhythm section a lot of the time. I feel like he was underutilized in a lot of these tracks. The same goes for Ginger Baker. I just got done listening to Live with Fela Kuti, where Ginger Baker went to Africa to study their rhythms, and he performed a live set with them, and I know what he's capable of. I know that he's a very, very well-seasoned drummer, but I'm not really hearing any of that on this album. A lot of his instrumentation is understated. It feels like he's confined to keeping up the rhythm rather than given an opportunity to take the rhythm to new places. His drumming stands out more in the relaxed tracks on the album, such as We're Going Wrong, but I feel like that's just because the guitar and the bass are turned way down. I wish that the drums were heavier. I wish that there was more emphasis on the drums. Like I said with Clapton, I feel like he was underutilized and certainly punching under his weight. I felt like this ensemble of musicians was capable of putting out a much better piece of art. That's not to say there weren't any standout songs in this album. I really appreciate We're Going Wrong. I appreciate the psychedelic texture, the slower, growing dynamics. This song had plenty of dynamic variability, much more so than the first few songs on the album, and it takes you to this loud, growing bridge, and I think that this would have been a much better song if the bridge went on for a little bit longer. It feels like as soon as they got to the peak, they decided the song was over and just cut it short. Again, I feel like there was a severe lacking of heart in some of these performances, and it upsets me that they didn't stick the landing. The final two songs in the album couldn't be more different than the rest of them. We have Take It Back, which is very Western sounding. It's like a cowboy song. It's a much different groove. It's much more confident, upbeat, and I really appreciated it more than most of the track. I enjoyed the chugging drums and the bass. I enjoyed the texture of the song. I enjoyed where it took me. I really felt like I was in a saloon with like a tall glass of whiskey. I wish there was more of this, more difference in sounds. It's a shame that they waited until the very end of the album to put some of their more interesting songs forward. The song that occurs right after this is, I could have never predicted, a barbershop quartet about a baby that falls down a drain. It's definitely an outfield song. It's kind of funny, though. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It feels like they were just sort of having fun with it, and I wish they were having this much fun on the other songs. It made me smile, so I guess that's a victory, although it couldn't be more out of place. One of the most out-of-place tracks I've ever heard on a record. Disraeli Gears was unfortunately disappointing. I feel like it was a swing and a miss. I feel like the musicians in Cream could have certainly done much better, have done much better, and continue to do much better after this album came out. I feel it down. There's a couple strong standout tracks, but very few perfect tracks, and I feel like even those aren't enough to save the album as a whole. The tracks that did stand out to me were Dance the Night Away, Tales of Brave Ulysses, and SWLABR. I would recommend this album to fans of Eric Clapton, fans of classic rock, and fans of the Grateful Dead, other psychedelic-infused bands such as this. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to give this one a 3 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about the album in the comments. You can leave a like if you appreciate what I had to say. That really helps me out. You can follow my journey in the link in the description. Go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's video. And I'll see y'all soon. Never stop listening. Peace.